This segment. We're joined now by Mr. Toyin Ayinde, who is the Commissioner for Town Planning and Urban Development in Lagos. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Welcome. Good morning.
Maybe let's start off with some explanation about that, because, I mean, yes, a lot has been said about that, the collapse of that building in Synagogue Church, to the extent that we even have a comment from South African president about people who have died there, South African nationals. But that image or those visuals that we saw, could you shed some light on that? Is the state also looking at that?
Yeah, thank you very much. It's a privilege to make some explanations after so many texts and so many calls from the media. And I know people were trying to find out what we will do to that property, but I think now we should be interested in the lives that were lost and their families, to sympathize with them. That's just to start with that. Now, the video we just watched on the screen is not clear enough here, but we were able to see a copy of it because when the governor and I visited the site, we were invited by the General Overseer, and he showed this to us. Now, there are a few lessons to learn from that video. First is that there's an individual who is able to monitor his environment with CCTV cameras and is able to capture what is going on per second in that environment. Now, the federal government has set up cameras in Lagos State, and those cameras have not been activated. They would also have helped us in detecting some crimes and finding out some things that are happening, especially where those cameras are. So I reckon that CCTV camera is helping us to see a few things. But we're also investigating the CCTV clips. One of the things we noticed was that there were about 4 planes that moved at different times of the day. Now, because that area is within the flight corridor, there was a pattern to the movement. You will see them in an ascending direction, meaning that they were just taking off from the airport. But because of the distance of the aircraft from the building relative to where the camera was situated, you can't say whether it's the same aircraft. You can't say whether there are 4 different aircraft. But one of the things that we want to suggest reasonably, any aircraft that is likely to drop something on a building will probably be in a stable position and not while it is rising, because clearly those ones were moving from the airport. But one of the things we have done is to draft a letter to the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority. The letter will get there today, because we also wanted to give them some other information. First, to give them a copy of this video clip. Then secondly, we have gone to that site to get the coordinates so that they may now be able to advise us on which aircraft we are flying at those hours of the day and what is their relative position and their altitude in terms of the collapsed building. The second reason we are doing further investigation is that if you look at that clips, the manner of collapse seems to be a controlled collapse, which is why there is need for further investigations. As of yesterday, there were parts of the ground floor of the building that were already exposed, and we already said our engineers should go there and take samples so that we're able to find out what kind of materials were there. So.
Well, I think now you're painting a good picture, talking about flight corridor, and we also know that, well, being town planner and the commissioner as well, there are some kinds of buildings that are permitted in some areas, number of floors or high-rise buildings that are allowed in those areas. Is this a case of a building going beyond the height that would ordinarily be around a flight corridor?
No, no. Although they are within the flight corridor, but until we're able to determine the exact path. But I think where they are, based on what the district officer informed me, 6 floors are allowed. So it's not a matter of going too high. Secondly, the issue of vibration may not arise, because if there was such a vibration, it will come out in the press the following day. If we had the tendency of some aircraft threatening our existence, I don't know if you recall when the aircraft Concorde, I think it was the one and only time it came to Nigeria. We were warned that the noise would be enormous, and it was when it came. So if there was such a vibration, we will all know. And then I also reckon that if there is such a vibration that will bring down a building, then the surrounding buildings must also have some kind of cracks, which is part of what we're also asking our engineers to investigate.
Okay, because I mean, the way that building came down, which we just saw, it's not normal for a building to come down in this way.
No, it's not, because usually what we commonly see is that there's probably a weak side of the building and the column buckles, and once it buckles, it comes down that way, and then it has the tendency to drag the rest of the building with it. But this looks like the BOI controlled demolition. So that's the reason. Yeah, that's the reason we have to do further investigation.
And how long will that take for us to get any result?
I'm not the engineer, but what I can tell you is that this is on the front burner of the government. Like I told you, a letter has gone to NCAA this morning. Had directed engineers to report at that site yesterday. I was listening to the representative of Standards Organization of Nigeria yesterday in the news. They are also there to pick some samples. So everybody is concerned about that. This collapse will really be a case study, so that we may learn lessons.
So, but the site has been cordoned off.
Yes, the site. You know, what really happened as at Friday, Saturday was that there was too much pressure from the members of the church. In fact, rescue operation was a bit delayed because there was first hostility, then there was the move to guide what was going on. So as at Sunday, we needed His Excellency to direct that law enforcement agencies should take over the site, and he appealed to the General Overseer to ask his people to move out, because even as at the time I got there, it was a mixture of Lagos State Emergency Management Agency and also people from Synagogue and things like that.
But what kind of preliminary commentary are we getting from the engineers who were on the site there and the Lagos State officials?
As at Sunday, when I requested to see a member of the engineering team, because they assured me that they had an engineering team, none of them. For 4 hours, I was there. And at the end of the day, it was only the CSO that I was seeing. Although somebody told me that it's only the CSO I'll be seeing. But we have sent to them. I understand that a few representatives were with one of my general managers on Monday. I'm still waiting for her report. That's the general manager of the Lagos State Building Control Agency.
Was there any expert involved in this building with this particular collapse? You know, we're talking about someone in charge, maybe
of the construction.
Of the construction. Have you had any discussions with the person?
On our records, we don't have. And the reason is that that particular structure does not have our approval. I say on our records because if it came for approval, at least we will have
a name.
The name of the designers, the structural engineer, the architects, and so on. But on our record, we don't have that. You know. And until they come with their, somebody has to be liable. I mean, somebody has to be able to explain. Let me not say liable yet. Somebody has to be able to explain what was done and what was not done.